edition of the show. We are live coming to you from the Infinite Energy Arena in Gwinnett. We are at Leadercast Live. It is a day of inspiration and great talks and speeches from some of the world's best and most known, really, speakers. And today, the theme is leading healthy teams. They kind of have a different theme every year, and they almost build on each other year after year. We're getting a little taste out here of some of the great people that are just here to lead their own teams. Some of them are speakers, some of them are attendees, and we're just really getting a little taste out here of what this day is all about. There is still time if you're in the Atlanta area. I mean, if you're flying in from elsewhere, it might be a little too late. But if you're in the Atlanta metro area, you can still come out. There's a lot still happening here for the rest of the day at Leadercast, so come on out and join us. Right now, I am joined by Lorne Day. He's Global Operations Manager for Caterpillar. Caterpillar's everywhere.
We're everywhere. It's a global company and a big company.
It's funny because I think everybody knows the brand name.
Absolutely.
But for most of us, when we're not focused on it, you just sort of see it out of the corner of your eye and like, oh yeah, Caterpillar, I know that company.
Big yellow.
Yeah, but who thinks about it being everywhere around the world?
Yeah, I mean, as I travel around the world, the funny thing is when I wear my cat shirt, someone says, "Oh, cat boots."
Yeah.
And of course, we don't make the boots; we license it. But
right.
Yeah, we're everywhere. It's you get used to seeing it. Side of the road, engines, machines.
Right, we take for granted.
It's a wonderful company.
Okay, good to know. And so I was saying before we came on the air together, so what are you doing here today? Why are you here? And you said,
bringing my team. This is our 14th year. We started back when John Maxwell started at Maximum Impact. So we've been coming down and really driving this leadership concept that we have within the team. And so I bring them down. We have a 2-day strategy meeting. 2 days prior with the team. We get together, do some really good thinking and communication. Then we come here, enjoy the day, and just kind of change your mind on what you're doing. Get away from the noise, the day-to-day noise, to come and just get away and self-develop.
So when the day is over, and not today because you don't know yet, but in the past years, in the 14 past years, do you all sort of sit down and talk through what you got out of it?
Yeah, we do. So what I look for is when we go back, we look at our notes, we do some self-reflection, and during our one-on-ones, we talk about what we took away and how we're going to implement it within our teams or our leadership or our families or whatever the theme is.
Yeah, I want to talk about implementing some of that because I think that's an important part. I mean, I think a lot of us go to, whether it's Leadercast or other conferences throughout the year, and we hear, these great inspirational things and we think, yeah, that's awesome. And then we go back to our regular life and we forget all about it. Or maybe we try something for a week or two and then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So how do you really put some of these, new concepts or new ideas or even old ideas refreshed kind of back into your existing team and get them to do the same for their teams?
Yeah, great question, because it is easy to go back and get to the noise, right?
Yeah.
The emails, the phone calls, and you're excited when you leave.
Yep.
2 days later, all the emails come out and you're back to your normal job.
That's right.
So we really do a good job. As a team, we meet monthly. My direct reports, we meet monthly. We're a global company, a global team. So usually it's early in the morning because there's hours difference in China and England and Italy and Brazil. And so one of the roles we have as leaders is to ensure that when we self-develop, we each talk about what we took away from it and how we're going to implement it together, because what I'm going to implement may be different than one of my leaders are going to implement in a takeaway.
Yeah.
So every month we talk about what we're doing differently in our leadership style and how we're dealing with certain situations. So it's a constant learning. If you can learn something, but if you don't continue to implement it and challenge each other to implement it, then you're right, it just goes away until the next exciting next year and on the topic.
It's like you almost have to have check-ins with yourself and be accountable to the team. Did you do that thing you said you were going to do to make your team better?
Yeah.
I know last year, I was talking about this with Angela earlier on the show, that last year the theme was leading yourself.
Yep.
And this year it's leading healthy teams. And both you and Angela have sort of referenced both of those things. So obviously you held on to the leading yourself piece.
Yeah.
But talk to me about the idea of a healthy team, because I feel like that every year the Leadercast Live theme is interpretable, if you will, and everybody kind of sees it a different way. So how do you see a healthy team? What does that mean for you?
Well, engaged, right?
Okay.
It's about being engaged in what you do every day. I'm a big believer is when you're at work, you're at work. But when you're at home, you're at home. I don't think you can have healthy teams when people are half in, half out.
Interesting.
Right? And so one of the things I really encourage my teams to do is don't bring your computer home with you, because I think when you do that, when you're half at home.
Hold on one second, Nick. Don't listen to him. Keep going.
Yeah. Because when you're half at home, you're halfway with your family, you're halfway with your job, and you never get away from it.
Yeah.
You have to learn to unplug.
Yeah.
Right? And I think healthy teams are those who can unplug when they're home, but when they're at work, and we're engaged.
Yeah.
We're looking for successes and wins. Andy Stanley was talking about, you have to have winners, right? You have to have doers, you have to have thinkers.
Yeah.
But you really have to have people that want to win, that are competitive, and you have to provide them a vision to want to win. And if you're not providing them a vision, then they're just coming to work. Right? There's a big difference.
But look, don't you think, Lorne, it's really hard to tell somebody who's really driven and wants to win to put it down and go be with your family? Because I feel like that's a really hard thing for people like me to do.
Absolutely. I've been with the company 26 years.
Yeah.
And I know during my earlier years,
you were gung-ho.
24/7. You're focused on that.
That's right.
And what I found was, if I continued that, I wouldn't be the best me.
Right.
I wouldn't be my best self.
Right.
Not only to the job, but to my family, to my wife, and my kids. And I talk a lot about this to my team. My expectation is you're your best self. When you're your best self, you bring your best self. And when you bring your best self to work, you're going to provide extraordinary efforts. Right? I always say we have ordinary jobs. It's our jobs to make them extraordinary. And the only way you can make your ordinary job extraordinary is to be your best self.
Yeah.
Is to really have your mind wrapped around what you want to be and what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's the same with families. If you go home and your mind's on work, you're not providing your family your best self. And so you have to be able to separate that. And when you do, I believe you really drive that winning team and that engagement and that culture of he cares about me, she cares about me. And we're together on it. We're going to win together, we're going to lose together. It's not an I, it's a we.
Yeah.
And so I think it's all about a winning team.
Lorne Day hanging out with us right now from Caterpillar. We're talking about sort of your many years with the company and here at Leadercast and the different leadership lessons. And we're like already getting short on time because I know we could clearly talk about this stuff together for hours, not just a few more minutes. But talk to me about, you talked about winners and losers and bad days and good days a little bit. So, not everybody's going to feel good and motivated and happy all the time. Things go wrong at home or at work.
Right.
How do you deal with that? Because it's not realistic to think we're all going to be positive and happy all the time.
You have to understand it. You have to understand you have good days and bad days. And I think what it is you take advantage of the good days and you deal with the bad days. And hopefully you have a lot more good days than bad days.
Yes.
And this is where people have to understand when they're having bad days at work, it may not be the right work for them, right?
That's fair.
And so you have to make those self-decisions and saying, is this the right for me? Because if you're unhappy at work, there's reason for it. People leave companies. They leave leaders, really. I mean, they leave
it's true.
And so you
More
have to,
often than
again,
not.
self-evaluate about why am I having the bad days and ask for help and ask for development. And as a leader, a lot of times your teammates don't come to you with their personal issues.
Right.
Because they're personal.
Right.
But you have to have that relationship. You have to have the ability to separate the relationship aspect and the leadership aspect. Because you have to lead people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to coach people.
Yeah.
But you have to always have to lead with a heart. It's extremely important that you have to have some kind of heart in your terms you're leading and a relationship with those you lead.
Yeah.
So when you have that, you can help drive those better days and understand why they're having the bad days, understand why you're having a bad day, and have someone to talk to. Because if you don't have that individual to express your concerns and ideas, then you're going to have worse days.
Yeah.
And the worst days are then you have an unhealthy team.
Yep, absolutely. Can I come work for you? I'm just saying. Lorne Day, so great to have you here. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and for coming year after year after year. That says a lot about you and your team and the event itself. So thank you again very much. We are live at Leadercast Live, but we are wrapping it up. This has been a great morning for us in this bonus edition of the Dana Barrett Show. Of course, you can hear our show at our normal time, also at noon on WGST Talk Radio 640 in Atlanta. Check out Leadercast. There's still time to get up here and be a part of it. That is it for us right now. We'll see you in a couple hours.